Great. Next one, S, slogan.
Yeah, again, another one that comes from Michael, and it didn't occur to me that it's a requirement, and maybe it isn't, but it's a nice tip, and that is, one of the things that I think happens between your ears when you get to a website is, do I belong here? Is this what I'm looking for? So chances are you just came from another website or from a search engine, and so whether or not you used a question mark, you have a question in need of an answer, and so you get there and you go, am I going to find that answer here? And so I think a slogan's a great way to accelerate that process. On my website, it says, turn on the power of online marketing. So if you believe that online marketing is for you and it's going to be powerful and you need somebody to help you with it or turn it on, you're probably going to read that and go, oh good, I think I'll click around here, this makes sense. So for the sake of clickability or stickability, I think a slogan serves your purposes really well. It might go on your business card. It might travel with you in all your media, but it definitely belongs on your homepage.
Okay, two things. First thing is, do you want to give people the URL for your website, so everyone knows where it is?
No, sorry, no. We're all trafficked out. No new visitors allowed. Yeah, of course. Thank you for that. www.feldman. That's spelled F as in Frank, and chances are pretty good my name's going to be on this post or broadcast of yours. Feldman Creative, no spaces, .com. If you wanted to read my blog, you can. There's a /blog in the domain. And also something I like to mention is that I guest blog for a lot of great publications. And so if you mouse over blog, in addition to finding a path to my blog, you'll find, how blogs have author pages. So I have all the links to all the author pages. So, those websites are cataloging their authors. So like this year I've been pretty active at HubSpot, and I have a new one at Copyblogger, and I write a column for Social Media Today, and so all those links are there, so you don't have to resort just to search engines to find the places I write.
That's great. Now, staying with slogan just for a little moment more, if people want to find their slogan, because you're an expert copywriter as well as a content marketing consultant, what tips would you give for people to try and find that slogan?
That's a good one. Finding your slogan. That's a blog, man. I'm going with that one. I don't know. That's a copywriting exercise. I guess the first tip would be, engage the services of a professional.
Maybe that's what it is. We didn't plan that, but maybe.
Yeah. I mean, that's a bit of a pitch, but I mean, when I get hired to do that, it's very experimental. It's not like I'm not like throwing darts over my right shoulder blindfolded. I'm researching the company, the companies, or the market and the company. So that would be a tip too. Now you do have to define your niche before you write your slogan. Michael gave a couple of good tips. I forgot the word, some English word that I don't know well. I like the word verb because most people know that one, and so I like slogans that start with a verb. They become a call to action. So if we were talking about mine, it wouldn't say turning, it would say turn. Or I guess mine does say turn. Turn on the power of online marketing. But there's this other word that describes the ing version, turning. Influencing, communicating, networking. Those work too, and I forgot what you call that. So yeah, I don't know about the tips of the slogan.
I know that. Do you know that? Do you see that? Present continuous, I think.
Present continuous. Who gave us that one?
I don't know, but I remember my Latin teacher many years ago. Anyway, but
you remembered it? Okay, good for you. Yeah. I'm as good as I am as a writer. I wouldn't want me to be your grammar coach.
No, but there we go. That's great. So okay, that's that. So look at the. So that's the first bit. Was there any more as a part of the tip?
Well, I mean, you're going to have to throw some spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. So I think, what I was starting to say, when I get asked to do that, I fill up pages and pages of them. So that's my tip. That's sort of like headline writing. I think you fill up pages and pages of them with your best idea and variations of the ideas you like. Then you run them by people, and then you run them by your audience. And so everything in digital marketing is easily changed and easily tested, and so you may not get it right the first time, and it may not stick forevermore. You might change it as your business evolves. So yeah, something I'll put some thought into giving a long answer to, but that's what I got for you right now.
Okay, that's great. Thanks. Just going to give a shout out to Charles and Roxana and Jason and Cher. Thanks to you guys for watching. I can tell people are loving this, Barry. So
oh yeah, good, because we're running pretty long. So I think
I think we're going to keep on going. We got more. Right, T for teach.
T for teach. Okay, so that's the teachings of Marcus Sheridan. He says, He did the keynote for that event we went to. Did you stick around and catch that? Oh
I
yeah.
was around. I was around. I didn't catch it all, I have to
You
say.
didn't catch it all. Well, he said an interesting thing. He said, aim to be the Wikipedia of your business. And so he gives blogging advice, and he doesn't give it exactly like I do. I certainly borrow from him, but he doesn't usually give blogging or content marketing advice about your voice or your personality or your sense of humor or your writing style. He gives it from the point of view of his story, the saving, the rescue of his pool company, which was followed not so shortly after, but after he discovered inbound marketing. And so he just took every question he could possibly think of, or started paying attention to every question his customers asked him, and he wrote them down and he made them the titles of his blog posts. And I think that's like the most important content marketing tip ever. In fact, I turned it into a post called the most important content marketing tip ever, or maybe I used the word effective. And so where he goes with that is, as you're aiming to answer questions and build authority and be the Wikipedia of your industry, you're essentially becoming a teacher. And I find that the more I study the difference between what makes for a good and bad teacher, the more I learn about marketing as the way it's practiced today.
Okay, great. You understanding triggering, or understand triggering.
Yeah. Again, you kind of like, oh, little kind of slim pickings, but there I went with understand triggers, and I wrote, weak brands focus solely on intellectual arguments. Strong brands tap into emotions. The subject you need to master is psychology. Become a student of it. I don't have a master's in psychology, but I certainly enjoyed the topic when I was in college, and life is the study of psychology. But the point I'm making here that people don't get, and so much so that almost every website makes the mistake of talking in terms of their market and big buzzwords and jargon. And what they're trying to do, if not pound their own chest, is they're trying to appeal to people intellectually. They're trying to say, these are the features. If you buy our stuff, you'll enjoy these features. And sure, if you're digital camera shopping, you might be interested in the resolution or the battery consumption rate or the amount of storage or whatever. But though you need to answer those questions somewhere in your marketing, up front is not the place. Up front is the place to understand the psychological, emotional triggers that get people to do what they do. And they're not complicated. There's only really about 20 of them. You might argue that there's more or less. In business to business, I argue there's only 2 of them. There's time and money. When you go to work each day, you're probably thinking about either making or saving the time or money. But in the business to consumer space that everybody can get their heads around, you're interested in things. What are they? Love, sex, power, comfort, security. Those are how you get people to pay attention, and so those are the triggers I'm talking about. I got the idea to mention that one from a book called Hot Buttons, and it didn't become a bestseller, but perhaps it should have. And I think there's 16 or 17 hot buttons, each becoming a chapter with lots of examples. And that's how you sell. And in terms of personal branding, I think once again we're back to how does a person become a brand. And if you just say, if you just give people your resume, they're not going to be emotionally touched. You have to understand what really does push their buttons.
Okay, great. Next one. V is for voice.
Yeah. So earlier, where were we? What letter were we on? We were talking about opine. So we got into voice, and that foreshadowed this. But your voice doesn't have to be opinionated, and you don't have to be a comedian, or in my case, sort of a smart ass, or whatever it is that defines your writing style. You don't have to base it on somebody else's writing style. But I think you do have to develop your voice. And before you ask me how to do that, I'm going to take a crack at it. It's not the easiest thing to do, but I have seen some good exercises on it, and I have a few of my own. I like to tell people, go empty your T-shirt drawer, throw the T-shirts all over the bedroom, and look at what you like. Do you like events? Do you like rock bands? Do you like inspirational things? Your T-shirt drawer is going to reflect a lot about you. So that and other exercises in self-discovery are a part of defining your voice. And then I think it gets a little bit tactical in where you're trying to find a voice that is unique to your market. But A is for authenticity. You got to be you. So figure out what your voice is and then practice it. You know, and what tip applies to everything? You know, how do I get good at blank? And the answer is practice. And I think, you know, the more you write and the more you network and the more you experiment with social media, you know, the more you're going to learn it and the more you're going to develop a voice. And you know, it simply can't be Welsh surfer dude who likes G plus and moonlights as a comedian. That one's taken. You know, so you got to pull it out of yourself.
Cool, great, and that's just pull up this one just to go back. People don't buy for logical reasons; they buy for emotional reasons, which is very much tied back into the triggers there.
Oh, so Zig Ziglar's ripping me off now. How do you do that? How do you throw those up on the screen?
Oh, we'll show that one again. We'll show that one again. But we've got a cool little app that sticks in.
That is cool.
Yeah. So thanks, Kenneth. W, win friends and influence people.
Oh, I should have grabbed that book, but perhaps I don't need to. You know, everybody has it. And if you don't have it, you need to have it. Or if you read it once, you need to read it again. Yeah, I remember sort of drudging through it the first time with, you know, long stories about Abraham Lincoln and so forth. You know, so it didn't feel that relevant then. But now, since networking and sales and marketing is, you know, really the end all of what I do and how I help people, every word that Dale Carnegie utters in that book really is valuable advice for personal branding. You know, and everybody knows his name, so he himself has built a wonderful personal brand, even though he's known for other things. And so, yeah, reread that book, and you know, he says in the foreword to that book, it should be on your desktop, and you should read it once a year, but keep it handy to remind yourself. So, you know, it offers lessons like listen, you know, listen, smile, you know, arouse in people a want, or something like that. Arouse in people a, I don't know, a furious want. I don't forgot the words he chose, but the kind of back to the Zig Ziglar thing we're just talking about. You know, don't tell them about, you know, about the feature set. Tell them about the sex appeal, you know, or something that pushes their buttons. So, so yeah, that book's a great stuff and endlessly quotable, and it's never going to grow out of fashion. It's just advice about how to win friends and influence people. And really, you know, when you're talking about personal branding, I think that when you're simplifying it, you are talking about being influential.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. Next one. Amin.
Yeah, I had a few other ideas about the X since I did this, but I had to settle for that because I thought, you know, there are not going to be too many words that begin with X, which would preempt you from doing this little trick. If you're not looking at this thing, by the way, each one starts off with like a children's alphabet block. So that one's X, and it's not the first letter, but I thought it could be X-ray, you know, because it is important to analyze things in digital marketing, but I didn't get to that there. I talked about examine, and I'm basically talking about, you know, what could have been called X-raying. So I'm talking about analytics. And so it's too large of a subject, and perhaps in many cases too boring of a subject for video interviews when it wasn't advertised as such. But you're going to want to put some measures together, you know, and I'm not saying that like how many Twitter followers you have is the quintessential measure, but it is a measure. You know, and if you're doing personal branding right, and Twitter's a part of your strategy, you're going to get more followers, or you're going to get more engagement. And so you need, in the early steps of your process with your personal brand, just like any other brand, you need to define what's important to you, make those quantifiable things that you can document and measure, and then look at and respond to. Andy Crestodina had a wonderful thing to say about analytics, and I wish he was here to help me with this, but the central idea was, you're not doing analytics if all you're doing is looking at numbers. You know, it doesn't help to look at the scoreboard and go, we're down by 1, and then not do anything about it. You know, you got to get to bat. So the point there is, you know, don't just analyze stuff. Use numbers as the information, you know, you need. Make your forthcoming actions data-driven, right? I'm not getting enough traffic. I'm not getting enough followers. I'm not getting enough customers. I'm not keeping customers for long enough. You know, these are things that you can examine in X-ray, and they're really that's an ongoing process.
Fantastic. Next one, penultimate one. Why you?
You, yeah. You know, I wrote a piece about this for Copyblogger, and I've hit on it in various places, and it resonates with people. I get a lot of nodding. I've been talking about this for 25 years. What I'm talking about is when you are doing marketing, that person you're talking to is you. You know, if I don't know your name, in your case I do know your name, so that person you're talking to is Martin. And that person that's talking is me. And so you should use what's called second person narrative when you write and when you do social media. And so that means I don't call myself Feldman Creative. If I'm a big company, even worse, I don't call myself Hewlett Packard. You sometimes may have to, and so there are going to be pages and places where this rule has to be bent. But when you can, because you are building a personal brand, that is the topic here today, you speak in that voice. So you say I and me and us, and then you say you and your friends and your name. And so everybody nods to that, and they go, that's good, I need that tip. And then they go and forget about it and make websites that pass or fail the, what's it called, the French test. I just talked about this yesterday with somebody. Some copywriter came up with that, the French test. Count how many times you say the word we on your homepage. And if it's more times than you said the word you failed the French test.
I like that. Oh, good. That's a really good tip. Okay, well, on to the last one. Z or Z, whichever way you want to go. We can do transatlantic on this. Zeal. What's zeal? Why is it important?
Yeah, I love that fact that we start with authenticity and end with zeal, because zeal is another word for passion and love, and I'm not going to be the first one in your career to tell you to pursue your passions, but if you're faking it, you're not going to be faking it for long. People see through that, and so I think you should make your living with something that you're good at and enjoy, and those are typically tend to be the same thing, and express your passion for it with great zeal. Otherwise, personal branding is an unrealistic expectation for you. It has to be fun, and the passion will come through, or the lack of it will kill you.
Okay. On that note, that was the A to Z of personal branding with Barry Feldman. Barry,
we're
where
out.
can we find you again?
We're not fielding questions.
Oh, we got. People want some questions. There aren't any questions at the moment there. I think we've answered. You've done such a comprehensive
It
session.
was pretty thorough, but if you have a question, fire it. If not,
If not, then we'll see. But let's make sure everyone's got your details again. So, who are you on Twitter? What's your Twitter handle?
@Feldman Creative.
There we go. And feldmancreative.com. Barry Feldman on Google+. Make sure the links are available so that people can access you there. And I know some people are going to look to reach out and to get in touch. But I've got to say, that was a great hour.
Yeah, really, I loved it. I enjoyed it.
Really good content. So I think there aren't any questions coming through. But listen, Barry's around. I wanted to get him more and more involved in Google Plus and in Plus Your Business as well. So look, get in touch with me if you want Barry. Then just contact this guy, because he's super smart, and as I think we've shown in the hour, he's a giver. So let's support him, bring him into Google Plus as much as possible, and you never know, he may well come back and discuss his next infographic with us.
Yeah, the influencer marketing one would be a good sequel, but yeah, the question and answer thing, that's what G Plus is for, right? Or YouTube. So let's use the commentary streams, and we'll continue the conversation. I'm really happy that you asked me to do this, and once upon a time I was sitting in the front row of your speech, and you needed the camera, and so thanks so much, Martin, and thanks for rounding up this audience. Thank you, everybody who listened and watched.
That was it. Brilliant. That's Barry. That's all I wanted to introduce you to. So thanks for watching, and Barry, I'll see you soon.
All right.
Cheers.
All right. Bye, mate.